What's going on there, everybody? And just announced earlier today is a brand new Marvel fighting game. It's going to be under a different company, though. Lots of new news coming through with this, and we're going to be taking a look at this new game. Now, this video here was just released just a couple hours ago, and it's going to have the background of how this came about. So we're going to watch this and then give our thoughts on Sony and Arc System joining together to create a new 4 versus 4 team Marvel game. So here we go.
プレイステーションの友人から急になんか飲みに行こうぜっていう連絡が来て、何のこっちゃと思って、予定合わせて行ったんですけど、ちょっと飲んでる中で実はアークの方でマーベルの格闘ゲームを作ってみないかというような提案をいただきまして。いや本当に聞いた時はびっくりしましたね。で、世界的に本当に有名な IP ですし光栄だなと思いつつも、まず本当にうちの会社で大丈夫かなという不安もあり。
The inspiration for working on this project really came from a place of pure fandom and wanting to say, why isn't PlayStation in this space?
So PlayStation approached us with this vision to bring Marvel back to the forefront of the tag fighting genre. And that got us really excited because we had worked with them before on successful stuff like the Marvel Spider-Man franchise with Insomniac.
When it came to approaching Marvel, you have to kind of first float the idea and let them know, hey, we're thinking about approaching a company like Arc System Works to make a fighting game. We'd love to partner with you to do this really great collaboration. Would you be interested?
When they named the developer, that really perked up our ears. It's always refreshing to work with a team that will take on the challenge of tackling Marvel, putting their own spin on it, and then just uppercutting that challenge into the stratosphere. And that's what you get with this team. I mean, they couldn't make something boring if they tried.
社長からも本当に作れるんだったらぜひやりたいでっていうことを言われました。話を受けてしまった以上これは私がプロデューサーなのかなっていうところで。
The tricky thing is that most fans, including myself, see this as a sacred genre for Marvel. The tough part is finding a partner that's crazy enough to take on the task, because you either do something like this big and bold or you don't do it at all.
I feel like I have a good grasp on their art style and how they would approach certain IPs. You come in with your kind of own expectations of, here's what I would expect to see from Arc System Works when they take on a Marvel IP. And what came up was something that went beyond that.
一番最初にマーベルさんに提出した時はなんとなくマイケルさんの反応はあんまり芳しくなかった印象があって、何がまずいのかなっていろいろやっぱり直接話していくうちにもっとアークのやりたいマーベルを見せてくれというような話をいただいたことがあって。
I remember personally the first time I saw Iron Man was really when I felt we had something special.
なので今回のアイアンマンのデザインを皆さんご覧いただければ分かると思うんですけども、かなり日本らしいアークシステムワークスらしいデザインっていうのが、出ているかなと思うので、マーベルの皆さんの反応がすこぶる良くて、あ、これなんだみたいないう感じで。
Iron Man is supposed to be the sleek fighter jet, think luxury race car mixed with a brick house. And the fact that they added anime mech elements to him just felt really naturally at home.
One of the mantras that we have for this project is from Japan to the world, and really trying to take not just the IP but gameplay mechanics and say, what can we really take from Japan, the creators that are doing awesome work here, and bring that to the global platform.
特別なところいっぱいあるんですけど、本当にやっぱり強調すべきは、格闘ゲームのチームバトルの中では4対4というのがまず本当に意欲的で挑戦的なところだというところと、
When ARC looks at these Marvel characters, it's not simply just the visuals, it's also the gameplay mechanics and adding in that, what is that pop? What is going to be something that's different? Up until now, you've seen tag fighters that have 2v2, 3v3. We felt like we just had to go 4v4. And in doing so, we found a lot of unique and fun ways to change up the gameplay that I think players are going to be very excited to see.
今回4対4という革新的なところにチャレンジしている中で、4キャラクター練習しないと勝てないんじゃないのとか安心してください。
Learning 4 characters is extremely daunting, but the team at Arc System Works has found a way to design a system that adapts to your playstyle. So you could either duke it out as just the leader and 3 assists, or you can tag in your assists to swap the leader and change the matchup on the fly.
I don't think a lot of people thought this day would be here, would come. You know, this has just been an awesome journey, and I'm excited that we get to be able to share it with all the fans out there.
I'll tell you right now, a lot of fighting games, they never get to experience this level of production, and it's just a dream to even be working with these 2 great partners.
それは決してビジネスという枠組みではなくて、それぞれの強い思いの中でこのタイトルを成功させよう、いいゲームにしてファンに届けようと。
The 3 companies have come together to do this, and I think we really are going to make something magical here.
このタイトルですね、まだまだ開発途中ではありますが、続々とキャラクターも発表していきたいと思いますし、キャラクター以外のコンテンツというところも今後いろいろ出ていくと思います。今しばらく楽しみにお待ちいただければなと思います。Stay tuned.
So, this information just came out today, and very, very, very interesting, right? So, I have some of my own different thoughts about all this. Now, what they went through and basically had said was PlayStation had reached out to Arc Systems and said, how would you feel about Arc making a Marvel fighting game? So my first question is, Sony PlayStation is clearly in control of, you know, their company, right? Everything they are. This game is a PlayStation game, but it's also a PC game. As of right now, Xbox and Nintendo aren't involved, but it's early, okay? So they said, how do you feel about making a Marvel fighting game? And Arc System said, you know, sure, you know, they're interested, you know, let's see what we can do. What I'm sort of wondering is, Sony must have the okay from Disney to Marvel to be able to have access to the licenses of those characters. That's one of the things I'm trying to figure out. So they had to have had access to it, and they were trying to find someone to make the game for them, right? So as time goes on through years, okay, Marvel was a separate entity, and they had reached out to Capcom to create a Punisher game, and that game was The Punisher, which was released in 1993, and it was a beat-em-up game. From that game, other games from Marvel and Capcom were created. Different X-Men superhero games, Marvel superhero games, Marvel cross Street Fighter, and X-Men cross Street Fighter superhero games. And then they came out with Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of the Superheroes, which was out in 1998. So from 98 on, we had Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and then of course all the different variations of the game in those. But then we had Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That was not considered Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Okay? It was different. It was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Now, it's recent times, and we have Sony reaching out to Arc System, and they say, how do you feel about making a fighting game? And Arc said, okay. And then you could tell as they go along, the director says, here you go. At the same time, can our company handle this? Because it's a big task, right? And he said that he was trying to feel out the situation, and then he was talking to the person from PlayStation, and he said, you know, because they're trying to figure out what directions to take, especially in the art style, right? And Sony said, do it how you think would work best. So I'll tell you guys what I see here.
The inspiration for working on this project.
I think they say it. They say it a little here. Okay, if we can make it happen, let's do it.
やりたいねっていうことを言われました。まあ話を受けてしまった以上、これは私がプロデューサーなのかなっていうところで。
The tricky thing is that most fans, including myself, see this as a sacred genre for Marvel. The tough part is finding a partner that's crazy enough to take on the task, because you either do something like this big and bold, or you don't do it at all.
I feel like I have a good grasp on their art style and how they would approach.
I think it's around here.
You come in with your kind of own expectations of, here's what I would expect to see from Arc System Works when they take on a Marvel IP. And what came up was something that went beyond that.
Here, when we first submitted our designs to Marvel, I got the impression that Michael-san's reaction wasn't particularly positive. I kept wondering, you know, what was going on, and after talking to him more directly, he said something like, show us the Marvel that you guys want to create. So this is what I think is so unbelievably interesting with all of this. From this point right here, in my opinion, they made Marvel in the Guilty Gear Strive universe. Because if you look at how they have formulated all this, the characters are a 2D but have depth characters. But the background is a little bit foggy, right? But it's that 3D, but it looks like it has depth background. It's as if you have two different styles going on. Now, Guilty Gear Strive, when it came out a couple years ago, has the same style. It's just, and when Strive came out, it was very cutting edge and a very good game. How they did that, and Strive's still doing well. Strive, Unica just came out. She's doing really, really well in that game. She just came out like this week. And they have an animated series on Crunchyroll. Dual Rulers. This game is built on Guilty Gear Strive. And if anybody plays Guilty Gear, you can see it. You can see it all in through here. What the personality comes in is, this is where Sony starts to say, okay, look, you know, this is your style, which works, right? I would say this is sort of the Arc System style. The key then is, how are they bringing their personality to the Marvel characters? And that's where the Sony person was going. You know, you guys need to figure out how you're going to put your own personal twist on the actual characters in the game. That's when the person that was talking that was blonde, he said when they were designing the characters for the Marvel characters, they were bringing their own history into it, their own personalities into it, and they were developing their looks and their suits and everything to be unique to fit what they felt their personalities and styles and fight styles and, you know, their descriptions were in a new way, because it's a new game. Now, if we look at Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, it's very pixelated, right? But you have to remember, too, it was cartoonish looking, it was pixelated, but that was because that was the engine that we had back then. That's how everything was. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, and you had a background that was a little bit more cartoonish and flat, and then you had characters that were basically also comic book looking. It was like a comic book coming to life and a little bit more flat. That style worked really well for Marvel vs. Capcom 3. When Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out, somebody had a request. And they said, we want the game and the characters to look a bit more realistic. Now, Street Fighter V had a little bit more of a somewhat more humanistic-ish, cartoonish humanistic look to it. But it was also based on looking as if you were looking at an oil painting. Okay? And that's how that game looked. I feel that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was built on Street Fighter V, where they took that, but instead of it giving it the oil painting look, they took it and they tried to make it a little bit more on the realistic side. With Sony now going to Arc Systems, they're saying, hey, look, you know, I think they knew, they said, we want a little bit more of this cartoonish kind of feel. They had already done it very, very well with Strive. And they said, let's see what we can do. And when you look at the development of Iron Man, and here's Captain America. You know, so they have Captain America, right? But he has a jacket on top. Here we go.
I remember personally the first time I saw.
So here's the different versions of drafts of what Iron Man can look like. They have to take the idea of Iron Man and utilize it, right? So that we all understand, have an idea, okay, this is Iron Man, and not just a figure that's completely different. But they're also trying to incorporate their own unique style, so that's where almost the chevron comes in here. The initial front part of his helmet does look a little bit different. And his suit here, it's a little bit more exaggerated on the sides. You know, they're trying to show that this is a different character. Well, I mean, a different character, but same character at the same time. Different look.
日本らしいアークシステムワークスらしいデザインっていうのが、出ているかなと思うので、マーベルの皆さんの反応がすこぶる良くて、あ、これなんだみたいないう感じで。
Iron Man is supposed to be the sleek fighter jet, think luxury race car, mixed with a brick house. And the fact that they added anime mech elements to him just felt really naturally at home.
One of the mantras that we have for this project is from Japan to the world, and really trying to take not just the IP but gameplay mechanics and say, what can we really take from Japan, the creators that are doing awesome work here, and bring that to the global platform.
まあ特別なところいっぱいあるんですけど、まあ本当にやっぱり強調すべきは、まあ格闘ゲームのチームバトルの中では4対4というのがまず本当に意欲的で、しないと勝てないんじゃないのとか安心してください。
Learning 4 characters is extremely daunting, but
So yeah, so that is the other thing. So they're saying there's 4 characters. The teams is 4 versus 4. They needed something to be unique to make the game stand out, right? So they said we're going to do 4 versus 4. Now, you can play them in different ways. You can play them where you have one, anchor, and then you have 3 assist characters. Or you can play where you switch everybody in and out and you play them that way. So, it's interesting to see how they're coming up with different ways and styles for people to play these 4 characters all at the same time.
daunting, but the team at Arc System Works has found a way to design a system that adapts to your playstyle. So you could either duke it out as just the leader and 3 assists, or you can tag in your assists to swap the leader and change the matchup on the fly.
I don't think a lot of people thought this day would be here, would come. This has just been an awesome journey, and I'm excited that we get to be able to share it with all the fans out there.
I'll tell you right now, a lot of fighting games, they never get to experience this level of production, and it's just a dream to even be working with these 2 great partners.
それは決してビジネスという
Very nice. Yeah, it is. It is. I think that I'm just wondering if they're trying to involve a bunch of different companies. They're not going to involve NetherRealm Studios because, of Warner Brothers, right, in DC. So I think they're just going about it that way. The thing that's very interesting about all of this is that for this much of the game to be done, of what we've seen, they've had to been in development for a little while. And I'm thinking that when the Marvel vs. Capcom collection came out, or was even being showcased to, it was at EVO last year, I think that this game was being developed at that point. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It looks wonderful. I mean, it looks really, really well done.
強い思いの中でこのタイトルを成功させよう、いいゲームにしてファンに届けようと。
The 3 companies have come together to do this, and I think we really are going to make something magical here.
このタイトルですね、まだまだ開発途中ではありますが、続々とキャラクターも発表していきたいと思いますし、キャラクター以外のコンテンツというところも今後。
Now, then it makes you wonder if this is Arc is really moving along here. And they're showcasing a lot, and they're putting out clearly a statement, and they're saying, here's our game, here's our teams, this is what it looks like, this is what it's going to do, And it's coming out sometime in 2026. That's fair. That makes sense. When you stop and you think about 2XKO, they have been trying to put out a team fighter for a little while. And, you know, they would have, you know, I went to a, like a meetup, you know, meetup party that they had. And it was, okay, you know, we're going to show you parts of the game and everything and tell us what you think. And then, you know, and then they had people there that, you know, were working there and everything. And they were going over it and saying, okay, well, what do you guys think? And now this was towards the end of Street Fighter V at the time. And then 6 came out, and they had 2XKO in Evo as a demo. And then they had it on a couple of the cabs hidden in Evo. And then the next year, which would have been last year, they had 2XKO booth again. And they were there. And now it's coming out sometime in 2026. What I think had happened was, whatever they had initially thought to proceed with, I think about halfway along the way, they changed their mind. And they said, okay, you know what, we're going to try to go in this different direction. Now, my only concern is they're still trying to put out a team game. Granted, the team game is based on League of Legends, and they have a really big following. But now you have another team game coming out, which is being developed very recently, right? And they're getting everything together, and they're going to be putting it out at the same time. And I don't know if the amount of time that they're putting out these games is going to be at the same time, or what's going to happen with that. But I'm a little concerned for 2XKO if this is going to be coming out around the same time as that. But I think that this game looks very good, and it seems, you know, that they're putting a lot of effort and detail into this. There's a lot of history with the characters. Visually, it's beautiful. We're going to have to learn more about the mechanic engine of it, and I think it's looking like a good thing. I think it's looking like a good thing. Shortly after the final patch of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Oh, 3 years! Wow, I did not know that. That's interesting. That is really something. I did not know that. See, it's amazing how long it takes a long time. Very strategic with their release window. Marvel can, I don't know about that, but it would be a lot of competition. It would be a lot of competition for sure. I don't know. But this looks very good. I didn't know it was in creation for 3 years. I was thinking this was about, of course, I don't know the true, how long it takes to do any of this. I was thinking at this point here, it must have been about 2 years. I was thinking 2 years. That is very interesting. Playable build internally over a year. People have known about it, mentioned it in discussions about the official reveal. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's actually the issue, though. You know what I mean? We're trying to figure out a way that, well, like, you know, if we could say, hey, guess what? don't release this at the same time because, you know, it might be, yeah. Hopefully they'll have a business, you know what I mean, a business plan and everything out so that they'll know when the release date is with everybody else. And then 2XKO can hopefully release at a different time. Yeah, this game looks great. It looks very good there. And we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see more as it comes along. Yeah. Very cute. It looks good. Does anybody have anything else they want to add to this?
今しばらく楽しみにお待ちいただければなと思います。Stay tuned.
These robots. Yeah, PlayStation 5 and PC, I mean, I think that, and the name is Tōkon. I think that there's still a very good chance that we could see this going into Nintendo. But Microsoft, I don't know. You mean with League of Legends players? If we got League players, you know, if we got League players in with our games and everything, I think it would be good. I think it would be good. I felt back in the day, I liked having the Smash players at our larger events. You know, I liked having them around. Oh, no, I don't, yeah, I don't know about any of that. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Unhealthy business models. Yeah. Well, yeah, and you know, the interesting thing about League is that is also, I believe, you know, you have to buy portions of it, right? Where with our games, you have to purchase basically the whole game. With theirs, I think you buy portions, and then you might buy outfits or guns or whatever. And maybe the issue also would be their company is a lot larger, you know, than ours. So it could cause some things that way. No, it looks great. Very good. Very good. Yeah, that's something. All right, everybody. Well, if anybody has anything else that they would like to add to this, then we can go over it. But I think this is going to be it for Marvel there. Our Marvel video. Yeah. All right. We're going to head out. Give me a minute because we're going to ready up the Mortal Kombat information right after this. So give me a minute to get that going. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. Congratulations to ARC for a Marvel game. That's fantastic and it looks great. It looks like Guilty Gear Strive times 5, you know? Fantastic stuff. And like I said, when Strive came out, cutting edge, and even now, still a great game. This is everything built on that, you can tell. So I think it's going to be very good. I think it's going to be very good for these guys, and I'm happy. And it's like they had said, maybe a little bit of a smaller company. Happy to take on something like this, a little bit nervous, but at the same time excited to do it. I think it's great. Good for those guys. Good for those guys. Yeah, the anime, the anime is Dual Rulers, is on Crunchyroll. And Unica from Dual Rulers is out. She's out now, yes, in Strive. Yeah, just this week. So, yeah, they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot of things. All right, guys, we're going to switch it over to some Mortal Kombat. I hope you guys had a great one with this Marvel reveal. I will see you in a couple of minutes.